Good morning and welcome to Retroville. I have a big question for you today. Where did it all begin? Do you have an idea? We're going to talk about that today. I'll see you in just a bit.
Before we get started this morning, we're going to play a game called Name That Pixar Movie. Let's see how many you can get right.
Well, that was a fun game. I love Pixar movies. What's your favorite movie? Oh yeah? I like Toy Story myself. That was pretty fun. I didn't get all that many of them right. I was stumped on several of them, but I knew those Toy Story ones. Now it's time to jump in to... Miss Joni, slow down. You're blowing my fur everywhere. Time to jump in to creation. Let's go. Today we are reading a book called The Garden, the Curtain, and the Cross. This is going to take us back to where it all began. A very long time ago, right here in this world, there was a garden. In the garden, everything was wonderful. The world was full of laughing and playing and smiling and fun. And if you look, if you can see in these pictures, there's animals and they're all playing together. It just looks pretty perfect. There was nothing bad, ever. There was no one sad, ever. And best of all, God was there. Hello, Adam. Hello, Eve. He had made it all. He was in charge of it all, and he loved it all. People could see God and speak to God, and they could enjoy just being with God. Eve, God's here. He wants to walk with us again. How cool is that? Yay! I bet it's going to be even more amazing than yesterday. It was wonderful to live with God. But then, one day, the people did a terrible thing. They decided they didn't want to do what God said. They decided they wanted a world without God in charge. God calls this sin. Sin spoils things. So sin has no place in God's wonderful garden. God said to the people, "You can't live with me in my garden anymore." And he sent them outside. They looked very sad. They don't look very happy. I think Eve is crying. She's rubbing her eyes. To show the people they had to stay outside, God put some warrior angels in front of the garden. The angels were like a big keep out sign. You can see these warrior angels here in front of the garden. Now things were sometimes bad, and people were sometimes sad. But people still kept sinning because they didn't want God to be in charge. Remember, sinning is bad things. But they were doing bad things because they didn't want God to be in charge. So no one could come into God's wonderful place. God said, because of your sin, you can't come in. God wanted people to remember, it is wonderful to live with Him. But because of your sin, you can't come in. So He told the people to build a special building called His temple, where He would live. In the middle of the temple was the most wonderful place in the world, the place where God was, with nothing bad and nothing sad. It was very exciting. But then God told people to put a big curtain around this wonderful place. The curtain had pictures of warrior angels, just like on the gate, on it. It was a big keep out sign. For hundreds of years, the temple curtain reminded people that God said, it is wonderful to live with Him, but because of your sin, that's right, you can't come in. Babies became grown-ups and had babies, and those babies became grown-ups and had babies, and those babies became grown-ups and had babies. Hundreds of summers and winters passed by, and the keep out curtain stayed in the temple. Then, one day, God, the Son, came to live in this world as a person. He was called, what do you think He was called? He was called Jesus. Jesus always did what God said. Jesus never sinned. And Jesus visited the temple where the keep out curtain hung. Jesus knew that things were sometimes bad and sometimes sad. Jesus said that God had sent Him to open the way back to God's wonderful place, where there would be nothing bad and no one sad. People still didn't want to let God be in charge. So they decided to put Jesus on a cross to die. You can see these pictures right here are dark. It doesn't even look like a happy place at all. It was the most bad thing that had ever happened. It was the most sad day of all time. But Jesus had a plan. He had always planned to die on the cross. What a strange plan. Why would God's Son plan to die? On the cross, Jesus took our sin, all those bad things that we do, all the bad things, all the sad things they cause. Jesus took them from us, all of them. And when He did, something amazing, astonishing, astounding happened. What do you think it is? What do you think happened? The curtain tore. God had ripped up the keep out sign. God's wonderful place is open again. Because Jesus died, we can go in. After Jesus died, His friends put Him in a tomb. They were very sad. For 2 days, nothing happened. Then, the next morning, Jesus' friends went to see his body in the tomb. And it wasn't there. A little later on, Jesus' friends were all together, and suddenly, Jesus was there, alive. Suddenly, his friends weren't sad. Now, they were so happy. God had brought Jesus back to life so that he could live in God's wonderful place forever. And Jesus has sent everyone an invitation to come and live with him there too. He tells us, God says it is wonderful to live with him. Because of your sin, you can't come in. But I died on the cross to take your sin. So all my friends can now come in. We can live with God forever. There will be nothing bad and no one sad. And right here it says, come on in, friends. We will see God and speak to God and just enjoy being with God, just as he planned. It will be wonderful to live with him. And it's because of Jesus. We will say every day, thank you, King Jesus. You are amazing. And you can start saying that today. So you see, it says that Jesus gave us all an invitation to come in, and he did. We all have that same invitation. All we have to do is believe that Jesus is who he says he is. And because remember, because of our sin, we can't come in. But when Jesus died on the cross, what did it say happened? Yeah, he took our sin. So because he took our sin, now we can go in. So that's a pretty good story, right? Probably the best story of all time. If you haven't already asked Jesus to come in to your life and into your heart, I hope you do that today. And once you do that, one of the biggest things that you can do is tell other people about that. Give them the same invitation, or tell them about the invitation that Jesus gave us. We'll see you next week. Bye.